Hey there, this is Geoffrey and I'm making this video to explain the Seller Leads app and the Properties app and how these thing works. So in the Seller Leads app, basically we create leads or we bring leads in. So when I say we create leads, basically I can click this button which says New Seller Leads app and I can start putting information in like the date created, who's adding it, first name, last name, whatever information we have, we simply put it in there, and as soon as we put the info in, the next action by default becomes first attempt made initial contact, and lead stage becomes new prospect. As soon as you add it, it simply assign it as your calling guy to go ahead and make a call. So that's how we create it. Now, how do we bring leads into the Seller Leads app, which is actually same as creating a lead, but basically we're not manually creating it, we're creating it automatically. For example, if we are in the Facebook Craigslist app or in the CallRail app, someone call us. Already have discussed how those thing works. So in the Craigslist app, we have a section where we can go, and once we have screened the Seller Leads app, we can basically push that guy as we have pushed this lead. Right there, so we was working with this guy, he seemed interested, so we simply push him into our Seller Leads app. So that just created a new lead in the Seller Leads app. Otherwise, that when someone calls us, the call goes to the CallRail. CallRail does all the filtering and all the person and everything, and simply put that lead into the Seller Leads app. Now, as soon as a lead get created, it does a couple of things. Now, to walk you through with that, we're gonna go ahead and create a new lead. And now we're gonna put a create date in it, and let's say I'm adding this guy manually. I have to put the time there too. Okay, so let's say I put my name in it. Now I can put a property address in it, or I don't. And there is few things we gotta learn on it. So let's say I go ahead and add this property. Let me just get a real property. So simply went to Google and search a random address, which for some strange reason actually exists. So I go in there and I simply paste it there. Right now I'm manually entering a lead in there. Awesome. Now I go ahead and I put a phone number in it or an email. So I just put this phone number in. You can put the format or you can remove it. That's totally up to you, because it actually removed those things. Now I'm gonna put my email address in it if I have it. As soon as we have all this information, it does a couple of things. Now, as soon as I save it, first thing it's going to do is that it's going to send an email, an introduction email, and a text message to the salary. See right there, it just did that. And it's just doing all kind of stuff right there. And you see, as soon as I added a property address in it, it did two things. First, it sent me a text message, a welcome text message. There you go. Thank you for contacting Lucky Buy Houses and all that. Sorry, that's the one right there. So I just got that 8 seconds ago. So that's an introduction text message I got. I didn't have it send an email because I didn't configure it. For example, if I go into my configuration app, in the configuration app, I basically can tell whenever a lead get created whether I want to send him an email, text message, or both of them. So that's what we decide in our configurations app. There it is. If I click it, you will see that we have configured the settings like a welcome message setting. So right now I'm simply send text messages instead of email and text, or both. So that's why you only got a text message. Now the other thing, if you see, I didn't put this related property field in it. I simply put the address. So what happens is that as soon as you put a property address in it, it creates a property record with the same address in your Property Leads app. Let's just go there in our Properties app and see what I'm talking about. See right there in the Properties app. So in the Properties app, we put all the information which is related with the property and the offers. In the Seller Leads app, we have everything, every action we can take on Seller Leads app, whether following up with this guy, whether sending him emails, whether sending him follow-ups, sending him Slack broadcast emails, or creating offers, all that we basically do in the seller leads app. All the attempts, all the researching, everything we basically do in the seller leads app. The properties app, see right there, it just created one record there which only have a property address, nothing else in it, right there, and it has been referenced with the seller leads app, and that's a street view and an aerial view of the property and all. So now let's talk about the next actions. And again, it sent out an introduction text message, then it checked if we have a property address. If we have a property address, it created a record in your properties app with the same properties address, and attach that record with this seller leads app, so you can actually easily visit in between these two apps. And this helps to eliminate a lot of things. For example, now this seller leads app is not as lengthy template as it used to be. So if we put bats in there, this thing becomes way more lengthy than it has to be. So that's why we created separate apps. Okay, so now let's talk about this next actions. So looking at the next action, I can tell this guy it's a new prospect, and I gotta give this guy a first attempt and try to make initial contact. So I go ahead and I call this guy, and two things can happen. Either I can get on a call with this guy, or it goes to a voicemail. So let's discuss what happened when you get on a call with this guy. So if I'm on a call with this guy, then I can go to my seller leads app. I have this thing in front of me, and I can start asking him about the property. Now I already have the property address in this case. Now I can go ahead and I can look at the property right away. And while I'm talking, I can start asking about the bed, bath, square footage, and all that, or simply go there and hit pull property information from Zillow. It's gonna check if Zillow has any information about this property. You see, the request was successful, so it's gonna pull all the information and put it into the bed, baths, and all that. It automatically does that. And now you can focus on more questions like, hey, what about the basement? Okay, what about the garage? Okay, what about the repairs? The house is, let's say, in a fair condition. Okay, now you put right now what you're trying to do is that you are asking questions and filling information. So right now you're asking what kind of repair this house needs. You're getting details on it, property description, whether the house is listed or not, whether it's occupied or not. Now this is all information is about a single property. So that's why we're putting all that information in the properties app. Now here comes the prices and all that. So let's say the guy says he's looking for $100,000. You put that amount in there too. Now you got all the info while I was on a call on my very first attempt, which is a very rare case. So if I already have done that, I can go back to my seller leads app and I simply say, you know what? Now I got all the property information and I got all the motivational questions answered. Now what do I want to do with this guy? So I simply say, now I gotta go ahead and do some research and pull comms on it. So as soon as I click this button which says do research, pull comms. So as soon as I click on this thing, it does assign, it does two things. First, it sends out a text message to the seller, and then it assigns attached to the researching guide to go ahead and run comms for this property. You see right there, it sent out a text message to this number, seller number, and it assigned a task to the researching guy to go ahead and research the property. So let's see if I got an email, text message or not. There you go. Thank you for taking time to speak with me. I'm going to run some numbers. We'll get back to you ASAP with the cash bar. So this button basically did two things for you. One, it sent out a text message to let your seller know what's going on, and we are still working on him and we are eager to buy the property. And the second thing it did, it assigned a task to the researching guy to go ahead and run comms for this property. So now the researching guy, he comes to this lead, he clicks this button which says run comms. Now he can actually get comms from MLS, or he can scroll down and click this button which says pull property comms. So right now what it's gonna do is that it's gonna pull property information or property comms from Zillow for this property address, and it's gonna create a picture and gonna give you an overview of those comms and attach a report of those. So you just created a report. Now it's gonna work on and add a picture right here which shows you the comms around the property. So that's your property and these are comms around the subject property. And if I scroll down, there is a record attached to it. You can actually follow this link which says comms. You can click this button and it takes you to the comms area and you can see the comms right there. So that's your property 1912 South Timberland. That's how it was sold for. Here's another one, here's another one, and then it can give you an average of those comms, of those 5 comms. So that's how you can run comms, by the way. That's how you can run comms. That's how easy it is. So let's just get back to our Seller Leads app and let's take how many other actions we can take on this property. So that's, now we did all that in the properties app. The searching guy comes to this and basically do all that in here. So now once the researching guy has done his job, he can actually do more than what he had, than running comms. He can come down and he can create offers as well, which we're going to discuss in our next video. So now let's just get back and discuss the other scenario, which is if I call you and the call doesn't connect and it goes to a voicemail. So let's suppose that this is still a new prospect and we're not running any comms on it or anything. So I give you a call again and this time it goes to a voicemail. Then what do I do? That's a problem, right? Now in that case, what I do is that I call you, I left a voicemail, and then I simply hang up the call after leaving a voicemail with my callback number, and I simply switch the first attempt from the first attempt to second attempt. As soon as I click on second attempt, it does 2 things again. It sends a text message to the seller, and then it assigns a task to the researching guy to go ahead and basically assign a task to the researching, not to researching guy, but to the calling guy to go ahead and call this guy after 8 hours. And then it sends a text message to your seller letting him know that we just called. There you go. Just now. This is Frank again. I know you're extremely busy, which is why you haven't heard my cash offer. I'd like to give you all that. Now you might be wondering like, hey Geoffrey, where these old templates are coming from? Again, we can set all those in our configurations app. In the configurations app, we can set roles and text messages and emails, mainly text messages, which will be sent out on different actions. For example, if I click this record, that's where we came down and set our initial emails and text messages. Right there, we have created templates for SMS bodies. So now let's say after 8 hours, I come down to this lead again, to our seller leads. And now I'll give you a call again, which would be my second attempt. If it goes to a voicemail again, then I simply go ahead and click this button which says third attempt, call seller. Because on my second attempt, I couldn't get a hold of you again, so I just clicked on second attempt. It's gonna go ahead and send me, it's gonna go ahead and do the same 2 things again. It's gonna assign me, the calling guy, a task to go ahead and call you after 8 hours, rather 16 hours, and then send a text message notifying seller like, hey, well, I know you're probably asking why is Frank contacting me. So basically you can change the wording. So we're basically sending text messages. And if you still don't get a hold of this guy, we simply go ahead and we put this guy in a follow-up. We can create another follow-up which will say, not responding follow-up. Select the template and then you can hit this button which says put on auto follow-up. So this guy start getting emails and text messages in the form of a drip campaign. And we can certainly hear back from him for sure. Thank you. So that's how we manage our calls. In the next video, we're going to discuss how we manage our offers and how we manage rest of our stuff.